Hey, good morning. Let's go over today's trade plan. So in the overnight session, we saw that ES broke below a multi-day balance, and at this point, sellers are in firm control. The primary support areas down here are at 35 quarter to 37 quarter, and then below that, we have 25 quarter to 27.75, which is the bottom of a previous range. And those are still areas where buyers can be active. And at this point, the overnight high is around 62, so we are pushing a pretty decent range in the overnight session. That doesn't mean that we can't head lower. At this point, the sell side is in firm control, but the first test of these support zones can still attract responsive buyers and result in a short-term retracement, which we can still short, on the bounce back up. So on the upside, pre-market resistance 43.5 to 45.5. That is the nearest resistance at this point. And beyond that, we have resistance at 49 to 51, which provides very conservative trade location for short. And above that, we have the overnight VPOC 52.5, and then the other resistance zones. But given the magnitude of this sell-off, ideally at this point, sellers hold ES below 49 to 51, and holding below 43.5 to 45.5 could result in even continued liquidation. Now, we've already seen some level of buying coming off of 38 quarter. We had support at 36 to 38, which has been shifted lower a bit to provide some more conservative trade location if we are going to trade this on the long side. Because at this point, the directional bias is definitely bearish. Sellers are in control. So at this point, if you're fading that move, the only real edge you have is trade location. And that's why if you are going to go long, you have to be very conservative with trade location, which means you have to get ideal location. And even then, you have to play defense because now the control has completely shifted from one side to the other. Right now, sellers are in firm control, and our focus is going to be more on the short side. But that doesn't mean that we can't consider long setups if the market is exhausted heading into a support zone. So 35 quarter, 37 quarter is an area where buyers can still be active. If we break below that, 31, 32 is minor support in between, but the next major support below 35 quarter, 37 quarter is 25 quarter, 27.75. Now, down here, this entire area really, between 31, 32 all the way up to 35 quarter, 37 quarter is a big high volume area. So, the market could have some trouble going through this, right? I'm not expecting ES to just slice right through all of this. Most likely, if we head down there and continue to test this zone, 31, 32 up to 35 quarter, 37 quarter, there's probably going to be a bit of a struggle to push through this. There's a lot of volume that was established over here before we broke out to new highs. So most likely the market's going to have some trouble going through this. And in the event that it does, then the next main zone is 25 quarter, 27.75. But most likely, buyers will be active at these zones down here and defend these areas first test. On the upside, like I said, the most aggressive area to short is 43.5 to 45.5. The more conservative area is 49 to 51. And holding below 43.5 to 45.5 just tells us that the sell side is still in firm control. And, this area can definitely provide a short setup, but it is the aggressive location at 43.5 to 45.5. And, that can lead down to initial support and potentially 31, 32. In the event that we do work our way through this support area down here, then 25 quarter 27.75 would be in play, and at that point we just have to keep in mind that we would have broken through a pretty major volume area, and that would be indicative of a very weak market. So even though we can get some rotation and some buyers active here, we just have to be aware of which side is in firm control, and we have to know that the main edge that buyers have down here is really trade location alone. And that's why if you are going to go long, it's better to wait for the market to get short-term exhausted into a support zone And then, those can still result in some decent bounces. I mean, we're seeing right now a rotation off of 38 quarter, back up into this 43 half to 45 half zone. So, overall, pretty decent selling activity on high volume. Expecting that directional control to stay on the sell side on the day time frame. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't bounce up. 43 half, 45 half can be tested, potentially even 49 to 51 if this is going to turn into more of a balanced market. But first test of every resistance zone at this point can provide edge and provide a short trade into the next support zone. And on the downside, the primary target is 35 quarter to 37 quarter. So that is the main idea heading into the open. Let's see which way momentum is leaning off the open as well. But at this point, we will be looking to short pops into resistance. So those are the main thoughts. No major econ reports due today. So, we should get some relatively clean price action. So those are our main ideas. Let's see how well the sellers maintain control today and take it from there.